Hi, this lesson is going to be on multiplying and dividing integers. We're just going to jump right in with the basic idea of what does it mean to multiply. A simple question, which is our first example, would be what is 3 times 6? The classic method is you should know what 3 times 6 is, and I'll show how that's always written, but you basically know what that is. But there's a method to triples, which we're also going to be doing on the other examples because that helps explains why the answer is what it is. So that's my main thing, is I want you to know why 3 times 6 is 18, which, surprise. So we have 3, and what this problem is saying in my mind is what number do I get if I have 6 groups of 3? So I'm going to start with that 3 right there. And I'm going to say, well, and I'm going to use positive for blue just because that's going to matter in a few minutes. I have 3. But then if I really think about it and take a moment, I have 6 groups of 3. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this until I have 6 groups of 3. So now I've got 3 groups of 3, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups. Okay, so if you notice, right here is where I have my 6. I have 6 groups. And then I have my 3 right here. So I have 6 groups of 3. Okay, and if I count the dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I should know, I should be able to write down that 3 times 6 is 18. So if it's been a while, that's why it's true. The classic method, of course, is just taking 3 times 6, and you should know that's 18. So if you have trouble with your times tables, the triples method is actually really, really neat because it allows you to visually see why it is what it is. So that's example number 1. Now for the rest of the examples, this is about integers. So these are both positives. Now we need to talk about what happens when I have a negative and a positive, or God forbid, a negative and a negative. So here we go. My first thing is I'm going to point out I've written again good, evil, positive, negative, color, pencils. That's basically the moral of the story. And then I've given you this little fancy triangle, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So go ahead and copy that down if you want to right now. But let's go ahead and jump into this part down here, and let's see what I'll talk about the triangle in a minute. Now, I have -4, and I want 7 groups of -4. So I'm going to take that -4. Okay, I'm going to put 4 evil triples. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my -4. And then I have -7. I'm going to do it 7 times. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have my 7 groups right here. Okay? I'm going to see what this all equals. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And they are all negative. They are all evil triples, so it's -28. So -4 times +7 has given me -28. So that there alone has shown if I take a negative times a positive, the result is negative. I still have -28 because it's 7 groups of -4. Okay, now I've got the triangle thing right there, and I've said, well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, so let's go and talk about that now. Triangle is used like this. If you have trouble, like if you don't want to do the triples, because that's a lot of dots sometimes to draw, we have -4 times 7. Now the hardest part isn't 4 times 7. You guys know what 4 times 7 is. It's 28. The hardest part is deciding, is it going to be +28 and -28? And I know with adding and subtracting negatives and integers, it gets confusing. Multiplying, dividing, what law goes with what? So for multiplying and dividing, this is not just multiplying, this is also dividing. Here's a really neat trick. I'm going to take my triangle and I'm going to use my fingers. I have -4. Go and do this with me right now on your paper. I have -4 and I have +7. And all that's left is, oh look, it's a negative. So, because it's a negative, that's what the answer is. So the first thing I'm going to do is a negative times a positive is always negative. Because it's saying, what is the opposite? Remember, negative means opposite, and the opposite of positive is negative. So we have -28, because you know what 4 times 7 is. And that's it with the triangle. If you wanted to, you could draw your own triangle with every problem, and you know you have a negative, or positive, you know you have a negative, and all that's left is a negative. So it is a really neat tool to use if you don't want to draw a bunch of triples. It's up to you. I do want both ways done in your notes, period. All right, let's jump onto let's jump onto example number 3. We have 5 examples today, so we're going to just try and do our best and get to it so I can respect your time at home. -5 times -3. Now let's go ahead and see. Now I'm going to draw another little mini triangle over here, and let's do the triangle method first. Negative times a negative, so I have a -5 times -3. And yeah, they use parentheses because it looks sloppy if you have net times and negative, because then it's like, is it a minus? No, it's always going to be in a parenthesis. So that means it's -3. Okay? Because that does look sloppy, and that's something you want to work on to make your solution clear. So I've got 2 negatives, so I've got a negative and a negative. All that's left is the opposite. Like, there weren't no children. Well, there weren't a no is a double negative. Think about English class. Double negatives means it's a positive. 5 times 3. So it's positive, so it's +15. And no, you don't need to put the plus sign. You can just put regular old 15, because that means positive when there's no negative sign. And then that's it. It's 15. Now comes the hard part. I have -5, and you're probably asking, if I have -5 and then I have -3, does that mean I have -5 and -3 groups? Like, what does -3 groups mean? So here's what this means. I normally would use -5. So let's pretend for a second all I had was -5 times 3. I'm doing this on here because I don't want you to write that down. Let's say I had -5 times 3. So I have a -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I have 3 groups of those. I'm going to put a ... because we're not done yet. We're going to do something right below it. Well, that's great and everything, but that's not the question. The question is -5 times -3. So what it's saying is, what is the opposite of 3 groups of -5? Think about that. What is the opposite of 3 groups of -5? Well, the opposite of -15 is +15. Think about your number line. -15, the opposite is +15. So I'm going to do the opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, check it out. We have +15 as our answer. So our end result is, well, -5 times -3 is +15 also. Okay? So, again, up to you, but that's how I see it. Example number 4. Alright. I have -36 and I have 4. So I have -36, so I'm gonna take my red pencil, and I have to break it into 4 groups. So here's what I'm gonna do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Well, I don't have 4, I have 36, so we gotta keep going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 33, 34, 35, 36. So I have 4 groups. So the question is, if I take negative 36 and I break them into 4 groups, or if I count the number of 4 groups, how many do I have? Well, if I'm counting the number of 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9. But that's kind of hard to figure out exactly what is it positive or negative. So I actually don't like counting the groups like that. What I say is, if I break this into 4 groups like this, how many are in one of these groups? And if I look right here, what do I have in that one group of 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they're all evil triples, so it's negative 9. So this is equal to negative 9. Triangle method, well, you know that you should know 36 divided by 4 is 9. But if I have negative 36, well, I have a negative on top and a positive on the bottom. All that's left is a negative, so it has to be negative 9. Okay? So that's the triples and also the triangle method for dividing with a negative. Okay? Remember, if I'm going too fast, pause the video, take some time, finish your notes up. Okay, let's do some order of operations. Let's say I have the example of 3 times 6 minus 9. So now we're gonna cross over a little bit. All right. Order of operations says I do what's in the parentheses first. So if I have 3 groups of 6 and negative 9, there's a bunch of different ways of doing this. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to change 3 times 6 plus negative 9. Remember, because I always see subtraction as adding the opposite. I'm going to do that. And now here comes the fun part. I'm going to have 6 and negative 9. So 6 good triples, 9 evil triples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Sorry if this is showing up a little light. Darken that up a little bit. Okay. Now I have 9 evil triples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if you think about the 3 in the front, I have to do this either 3 times, or I have to take whatever I get out of here 3 times. So there's 2 different ways of doing this. I'll show what I'm thinking in my head. I'm focusing on what's happening on the inside. What happens when you have 6 and negative 9? Well, that's a 0. That's a 0. Remember, intergalactic glove. Poof. That's a 0. That's a 0. 0, 0. And all I have left is negative 3. I have a 3 out there, which means I times it by 3. So I have 3 groups, so I'm going to put a little dotted line just to show a little different area. Because what I'm doing is now I'm doing 3 times negative 3. 3 groups of negative 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to have a second group and a third group. Count them up. Sorry about this, I don't know why it's showing up there. There we go. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to ignore that, and hopefully it will just not do anything. Oh, there we go. There we go. Getting back to this. This is negative 9. So I have negative 9 as my final answer. So I'm going to write this down. The original question, 3 times 6 minus 9, is equal to negative 9. That's what I ended up with. Okay. Now, order of operations. And eventually this is what you're working towards being able to do. I'm going to write my question. I rewrote it. Okay. 3, and I remember, look, I did 6 plus negative 9. So you should get to the point where 6 plus negative 9, they are opposite. So I have positive and negative. So really I'm subtracting. And there are more negatives. So this is going to end up negative. And 6 plus negative 9 means I like if I owe someone $9, I give them $6, I still owe them $3. Okay? A positive times a negative. By the way, that was me. I adding right there on that step. Me taking a positive times a negative is negative. First thing I'm doing, because the negatives are the worst thing, you're going to lose a sign, and that's the one thing you don't want to happen. And 3 times 3 is 9. So we have 3 times 6 minus 9 equals -9 is my final answer. By the way, I multiplied right here. Oh, by the way, I added because there was a group. Forgot to put that. There was a grouping symbol. So that's why we added first. And then I multiplied, because, right, grouping comes first. Grouping symbol goes first. So this would be my final answer. If you look, just 2 different ways of getting to -9. Okay, that's this video on multiplying. We did a little bit of order operations at the very end there, and there you go. Have a good day.